My name is Sophia, and at 27 years old, I found myself trapped in a life of routine with my boyfriend, Liam. We had been together since college, but our relationship had long ceased to be about passion. Instead, it had become about comfort, an old habit neither of us knew how to break. Our constant bickering, his refusal to plan for the future and his endless late-night video game sessions, left me feeling like a stranger in my own life. Even as we shared a bed, the weight of unspoken truths hung between us, and the effort to keep the bond alive seemed to vanish with every passing day. By contrast, my parents had been married for over 27 years. Their love was a quiet, unwavering force, full of inside jokes and a kind of intimacy that I could only dream of. They were my ideal, the standard I had hoped for, but it felt as though that kind of love was slipping further away from me. The night of the accident, Liam and I had another of our trivial arguments. He hadn't done the laundry, something he'd promised, and my frustration boiled over. "Can't you just do one thing you say you're going to do?" I demanded, my voice thick with annoyance. "It's just laundry, Sophia, it'll get done," he muttered, never taking his eyes off his screen. That was it, another argument that never touched the deeper issues we both knew were there, but neither of us dared to confront. Later that evening, I sat in the back seat of my parents' car, listening to their easy conversation. It felt like a safe haven, far removed from the tension in my own life. We were celebrating my mother's birthday, and their joy was contagious. Then, in an instant, everything changed. The blinding headlights of another vehicle, the sickening screech of metal colliding, then darkness. I woke up in a hospital room, the sterile scent of antiseptic mixing with the relentless beep of machines. A nurse's voice told me in the most impersonal way that my parents were gone. And then, the words that hit hardest: "My legs may never function again." The world felt like it had fallen out from under me, leaving me to drift in a sea of grief and uncertainty. Liam, the same man I had just quarreled with over laundry, was now the only tether to the life I had known, before this new, terrifying reality took hold. As I faced the unimaginable loss of my parents and the possibility of never walking again, despair consumed me. The future, once filled with potential, now seemed barren. Soon, Liam entered the room, flanked by his parents, Avery and Julian. The room felt heavy with sorrow, their faces tight with concern. Liam sat down next to me, his hand brushing mine. His usual bravado had disappeared. "Hey, Sophia," he said softly, his voice a quiet whisper. "I've been thinking a lot." I hesitated. "What about us?" The question escaped before I could stop it. He met my gaze, and for the first time in a long while, I saw something raw in his eyes. "Everything that's happened, it's made me realize how fragile life is," he said, his voice trembling slightly. I wanted to ask him to elaborate, to tell me what was going through his mind, but my words got stuck. "I don't want to wait for the right moment anymore," he continued. "It might never come. So, Sophia, will you marry me?" The words hung in the air, as unexpected as they were profound. I studied his face, searching for signs of the impulsive, thoughtless Liam I had come to know, but there was none, only sincerity. Avery, Liam's mother, stepped forward, her hands clasped together. "We want you in our family, Sophia," she said, her voice full of emotion. "We love you, and we want to be there for you and for Liam." For a moment, I was stunned, my mind spinning. This proposal, in the midst of everything that had happened, felt like a lifeline, even if it was imperfect. I looked at Liam, no longer just the boyfriend I had known, but someone who had stayed by my side through one of the hardest moments of my life. "Liam," I ventured, trying to keep my tone light, "have you thought about looking for a job? The bills are piling up." He didn't even look at me. "I told you, Sophia, taking care of you is my job now. But I don't need you here all the time," I said, frustration creeping into my voice. "I can manage during the day." At last, he turned to me, his expression flat. "What do you want from me, Sophia?" "I'm here." His tone stung, and I couldn't hide the disappointment in my voice. "Being here isn't the same as being present. I need a partner, not a roommate." Liam stood up sharply, his chair scraping against the floor. "Maybe I need more than this too. Maybe I'm not cut out for just being your nurse." He spat, his words like a slap in the face. Without another word, he stormed out, leaving me in a silence so thick it almost suffocated me. That night, as I lay in bed, I thought about the promise Liam had once made to stand by me, through anything. That promise now felt distant, like a fading memory of a time when we were more than what we had become. The future seemed further away than ever, and Liam's absences, both physical and emotional, left me questioning everything. Days passed, and Liam's excuses grew thinner. He was out with friends or lost in a digital world I couldn't seem to reach. I felt invisible, like a burden he couldn't wait to put down. On one of the hardest days, when I was at my lowest, I heard the front door open. I hoped it was Liam, but when I called out, his voice came from far away, confirming he was just grabbing some things. "Going out with friends?" I asked, trying not to let my disappointment show. He paused, his keys in hand. "Sophia, I need some space, okay? This isn't easy for me either." "I understand," I said softly, blinking back tears. "I thought maybe we could spend some time together, like we used to." He didn't meet my eyes. "Maybe later, things will settle down. I have to go." The door shut with a finality that left me feeling emptier than before. With each passing day, the house became quieter, the silence more suffocating, not just Liam's absence, but the absence of the small, sentimental things, my mother's vase, a cherished family photo frame, a painting that had once hung in the hallway. I noticed one day that the painting was gone. It had been my mother's favorite, a piece of our family's history. I called out to Liam, but he didn't answer. When he returned that evening, I asked him about it. "Oh, that old thing? It was collecting dust," he replied, barely glancing up from his phone. "We could use the space for something else." I felt a chill in my chest, but it was my mom's favorite. Liam didn't even look at me. "We can get another one," he said, dismissing my feelings like they were nothing. His indifference stung. The gap between us seemed to widen with every little loss, every moment where he couldn't, or wouldn't, understand what I needed. What had once felt like a home was now a hollow shell. It wasn't long before I caught Avery, Liam's mother, in the act of packing up my things, family heirlooms, sentimental objects, all being stuffed into a black trash bag. "What are you doing?" I demanded, my heart racing. She looked guilty, trying to mask it with a forced smile. "Just some spring cleaning, dear. There's a lot of clutter around here." "These are my things," I protested, panic creeping into my voice. She dismissed me with a tight smile. "It's for the best. You'll see, just trust me." From that moment on, I watched her closely. The thefts became more subtle, but no less hurtful. Whenever I confronted her, she placated me with sweet reassurances that it was all for my own good. One evening, unable to keep my frustration in check any longer, I turned to Liam. "Your parents are taking my things," I said quietly. He didn't look up from his phone. "Mom just wants to help. You know she's always been good at this stuff." "Help? By taking my family's possessions?" I replied, disbelief in my voice. He sighed, finally setting his phone down. "They think we should focus on the future, not the past. They're just trying to ease your burden." I felt a wave of exhaustion wash over me, my anger dulled by the overwhelming sense of defeat. "This isn't what I want," I whispered. Liam patted my hand with an absent gesture, his voice flat. "Try to rest, Sophia. Things will look better in the morning." But nothing ever looked better, and with each passing day, the truth became clearer. I was utterly alone. I confided in Riley, my closest friend and lead therapist, who had been helping me recover. Her visits had become a cherished solace. "Riley, things are disappearing from the house I'm living in," I said during one of her sessions, "and I suspect Liam and his parents are involved." Riley paused, her hands gently resting on my shoulders. "Have you talked to Liam about this?" "I have," I replied, frustration creeping into my voice, "but he just brushes it off, says his parents are trying to help by decluttering." I laughed bitterly, "But it's only my family's things that are vanishing." Riley's expression grew serious. "That doesn't sound right, Sophia. Do you want me to help? Maybe I can come by more often and keep an eye out." Her suggestion sparked a fire of resolve within me. "Could you set up a camera or something to record what happens when I'm not around?" I asked, a determined edge in my voice. Riley nodded. "I'll bring something tomorrow. We'll get to the bottom of this." The next day, Riley showed up with discreet recording devices. We placed them strategically around the house. It felt surreal, like something out of a spy film, but my need for answers outweighed the absurdity. A few days later, Riley returned with the recordings. We sat down, and the chilling voices of Liam and his parents filled the room, sending a shiver down my spine. Liam's voice was cold, calculated. "Once she's fully committed, The house and all its contents are ours." His words hung in the air, shocking me to my core. His mother eagerly joined in, her voice dripping with greed. The house alone could fetch a fortune, and those antiques, pure profit. I sat in stunned silence as the reality sank in. These were people I had once called family. The weight of their betrayal threatened to crush me. Riley squeezed my hand, her anger palpable. "We can't let them get away with this, Sophia," she said, her voice firm. "We need to stop them." That night, after hearing their plot, every interaction with them felt tainted. The next morning, I woke to an eerie silence. The usual sounds of the city outside were absent. I glanced outside and froze. My ramps, the only way for me to get outside, were gone. "Liam," I called out, panic rising in my chest, "where are the ramps?" He feigned ignorance, claiming they were being repaired. "I thought it'd be safer for you to stay inside for a bit," he said, avoiding my gaze. The truth hit me like a slap. It wasn't safety he was concerned with, it was keeping me trapped. "Safer or trapped?" I blurted out, but he simply turned away, offering no reply. Later, I confronted Avery about the ramps. Her sweet, fake concern only fueled my anger. "We're just looking out for you, dear, no accidents, right?" she said, trying to sound sincere. I recoiled from her touch. "I didn't realize needing ramps was a hazard," I said coolly. Avery's smile faltered, and I saw a flash of something darker in her eyes before she regained her composure. "It's for your own good, Sophia, we're just trying to help." That night, as I lay in bed, I felt the full weight of their betrayal. Liam was likely out, avoiding whatever guilt he had left. I grabbed my phone and dialed Riley's number, my emergency contact, the one person I knew I could rely on. "Riley," I whispered urgently, "they've taken the ramp. I'm trapped in my own house." Her response was immediate and firm, a lifeline in the storm. "Hold on, Sophia, I'm on my way, we'll take care of this." Moments later, the doorbell rang, and my heart skipped a beat. I made my way to the door, finding Riley standing there, flanked by a man and woman in sharply tailored suits. Their serious expressions matched the gravity of the situation. They were members of a local lawyer group, and my attorney, Mr. Dillon, stood beside them, a leather briefcase in hand. "Sophia, we're here to make things right," Riley said, her voice unwavering. Mr. Dillon stepped forward. "First, I'll need to tour your home and verify the condition of the property against the inventory of your parents' estate." As we walked through the house, the service representative took notes, their disapproval clear. When Liam entered, his confusion was evident. "Sophia, what's going on? Who are these people?" he asked, bewildered. I met his gaze with unwavering resolve. "I'm taking control, Liam. This is my lawyer, and these advocates are here to make sure my home is safe and my rights are respected." When Avery and Julian arrived, their shock was palpable. They had clearly underestimated how far I was willing to go. "Sophia, darling, what is this about?" Avery asked, her voice trembling. "This is about my rights, my home, and the truth," I replied, steady despite the whirlwind inside me. Mr. Dillon opened his briefcase, revealing evidence, documents, photographs, and a list of missing items. "Several valuable items are missing," he stated, causing Julian to lose color. "There's no misunderstanding," I said firmly. "We have more than just missing items to discuss." Liam's parents exchanged worried glances, their facade of caring in-laws shattering before their eyes. Riley stepped closer, offering her silent support. "We also have proof of conversations regarding your property and well-being," Riley added. One of the advocates spoke up. "Removing necessary ramps is a clear violation of Mrs. Harper's rights. We will be taking action." With the evidence laid out, it became clear, I had been a pawn in their game, but now, the tables had turned, I was in control. Liam finally spoke, his voice cracking. "Sophia, I can explain." I cut him off. "Save it, Liam, I've heard enough." Avery began to cry, and Julian tried to comfort her, but their deceit had left no room for sympathy. The trial that followed was a culmination of everything I had endured. Liam and his parents sat across from me, no longer the family I had once trusted. With Riley and Mr. Dillon by my side, I faced them in the courtroom, where the evidence of their betrayal would be laid bare. The judge, stern and impartial, began, "Today, We review the evidence surrounding the allegations of theft and exploitation of Sophia Harper. Mr. Dillon presented the case, laying out the recordings, discrepancies, and testimonies from disability advocates. The evidence was overwhelming, and Liam's family sat motionless, unable to deny their guilt. Avery's tearful sobs only underscored their crumbling facade. "We never meant for it to escalate like this," Avery whispered during her statement. The judge's gaze was sharp as he addressed them. "You took advantage of someone vulnerable. There is no excuse for your actions." Liam stood, his voice trembling. "I'm sorry, Sophia. I never meant to hurt you." His apology fell flat, hollow against the weight of everything I had lost. "Sorry isn't enough, Liam. You made your choice," I said as the judge's gavel echoed through the room, sealing the end of the life I once knew. Liam and his parents were convicted, ordered to make restitution, and barred from contacting me. With Riley's support and a dedicated team behind me, I began physical therapy. Each step forward, each small victory, was a testament to my resilience. My legs, once immobile, slowly regained strength. One day, as I stood with the parallel bars supporting me, Riley's voice rang out, filled with pride. "Look at you, Sophia, you're doing it." Her smile mirrored mine as joy surged through me. And so, day by day, I moved forward. My home, once a place of despair, became a sanctuary of healing and strength. With each step, I reclaimed not only my physical ability but also my sense of self, stronger, wiser, and determined to never let anyone take that away from me again.